Hello and welcome to a slightly different episode of Scotland on a Shoestring this week, because Bex and De Niro are back home in Scotland and I've come away down south. We are in and around Poole, and by we I mean me and my very shy friend Richard, who is going to be on camera whether he likes it or not. This place is famous as the home of Sunseeker yachts, so that's a Sunseeker yacht there. We've just looked at the prices and they start at about 1.5 million and go up to the GDP of a small country. That's a Sunseeker yacht there. Oh, there's one over there, and we're going to go and find some actually in their natural environment, but they're very, very pretty things. And you get an idea of how impoverished this town is, because you would buy your Maserati car over there and then you would go to your yacht over there. So here's the Sunseeker sales office. Bex at this point is having a heart attack thinking what I'm doing with her life savings. But the good news is I found a boat that I can actually afford, so I am going to buy myself a boat. That's what you do on YouTube apparently. Not the big one there, but the little one that's upside down inside it. I think that'll do us just fine for sailing about Methil. They're just everywhere. Everywhere you look there's a beautiful, expensive yacht. Not exactly Scotland on a shoestring, but what we're going to go now is show you the old seafront, the old promenade, which is quite nice. Lots of very nice old buildings and lots of charity shop, and I do mean lots. This is Charity Shop Central. We walked up the main road last night, they were all closed, but there's a lot of them. This is the historic sort of quayside of Poole. There's the old customs house, which would have been central to the economy. That's where they would have taken all the money off anybody that arrived. And over here there's an old church thing that I've just spotted, and I'm going to go and see if I can find out what it is, which of course means I'm now going to try and waffle all the way from here to there, so I don't have to stop the camera and then start it again. It's the local history centre, apparently, but it's okay, I'm going to give up. I'll find out what it is and I will let you know. There's quite a modern boozer from 1350, or as we call it, 10 to 2. Now, no idea what that old building is, but it's really rather cool. But I do like that pub, and I'm sorry about the 10 to 2 joke. Customs house is now a bistro, and that old warehouse building is now a cafe, and then there's a new building, and then there's more old stuff, and as you can see it's all pedestrianised. It doesn't feel like you're in the UK. It's got a really sort of tropical vibe. It's an area that one imagines would be unrecognisable from the way it was even a few years ago. It's not all slums and prostitutes like it used to be, I would imagine. Not that I would know, obviously, but that's really cool. That's pub front that's all like green glazed tiles. Let's see if we can see a date on that. No, quite old. That is quite old. History from Scotland on a shoestring. The green glazed tiles must be a local thing. This is the Swan Inn. It's all tile, so it was all made bespoke for the front of this building. As you know, when I'm away with Bex, we like to immerse ourselves in the local culture and try the local cuisine. So we're doing the same thing here. We're going for a kebab. Like a Bex after coffee, Richard is racing into the kebab shop. Delicious and nutritious, I think you'll find. Well, one of the two. It's quite interesting. This side is all gentrified, and wine bars and restaurants and bars and things, and over there it's all very, very heavy industry and a ferry port. Thing in front of us with the sun going down behind it is some sculpture that I did read about last night, so I should know the details, but I can't remember, so I'm going to go and read them again so I can sound like I know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, I knew that. It's called Sea Music, so let's go and see Sea Music. That is the view from the top of Sea Music as the sun goes down over there. I had to keep that short. There's some young girls sitting up there having a picnic, which is a very nice place to have a picnic, but you don't want some silly old duffer talking to themselves on camera while they're doing it. Actually, I was so busy focusing on getting the sun going down, I forgot to come around this side where the sun is catching it. Yeah, it's by Sir Anthony Carroll, obviously, but you probably knew that already. Great place for a picnic. Oh wow, there's another really cool old building. This is called Scaplan's Court, and it says 1986 up there. I'm guessing that building is not from 1986. Alright, having read that thing over there, this is the remains of a mansion house that was built in the late 1300s, so it's been here for a wee while. Listening to some of the local gentlemen conversing outside the public houses, I think the national sport here is swearing. They seem to spend quite a lot of their time swearing at each other. Oh, this is a little art shop. That dog thing there is called Can We Have Our Ball Back? That is absolutely brilliant. Might come back tomorrow, except I don't have enough wall space for the pictures I've got. And there's one of those lovely little tool and hardware shops that you used to get in every single town, and there's now only a few of them dotted about. They've all been killed by B&Q. It's a British sort of DIY shop, Home Depot in America sort of thing. My knowledge of American shops is almost entirely based on television and mostly The Simpsons. And I'm absolutely not buying any more Lego. Just for the avoidance of doubt, I am not buying any, well, maybe not buying any Lego. It's building in front of us apparently is called the Spire, for reasons that I don't have to explain to you. That is the Spire of the Spire. We can hear more shouting and cackling and swearing. That must be the Wetherspoons. Oh yeah, it is. It's the Wetherspoons. There are two Wetherspoons, obviously, a posh Wetherspoons and a normal Wetherspoons. There's not many high streets in the UK that have got a railway line going across them, but this one has. Oh look, there's Bex. Hello Bex. Say hello.
Hello.
Right, I'm not here to show you Bex, because you know what Bex looks like. I'm here to show you this, another really cool old dockside building. And just in case Bex was missing me talking to myself, she's now got to listen to it, because there she is on the phone. Do you want to do some commentary?
Oh yes, I'd love to.
Tell the nice people about the nice buildings.
Oh, lovely buildings. I'm not there, but they look lovely buildings, and it looks like a lovely sunset. Oh no, that's a Bleisha beacon.
That's a street light.
A street light?
Yes,
oh, right, okay.
yeah.
I can't really see.
You've missed the sunset, love. Okay, nice to speak to you, and I'm going to put this away because I just about walked into that because I was too busy talking to you. We're looking for an old church that we passed last night. I think we might be heading in the right direction. We walked past this church last night and wondered about the graveyard when we walked past, but I'm guessing the graveyard is here because all the gravestones are lying down. It's called the Church of Ice. There, it says there, it is the Church of Ice. So I don't know why they call it that, but that is what it is called. It is the St James's Parish Church, not the Church of Ice. And there's a slow climb up for a good look at the tower in the twilight. That's a nice way to end this little part of the video. Home for the duration of this trip was a Haven holiday park. I don't know if you've got these in your countries. They're like massive trailer parks or caravan parks where everything you could possibly need is on site. They're probably very busy in the summer but pleasantly quiet at this time of year. And this one was particularly nice because it was near Ham Common, which is a very nice nature reserve and a place of some importance during World War II with flying boats and stuff. There are lots of yarn bombs in Poole. There's Mr. Men and ducks and all sorts, but Richard refused to stop. But here we are. Here's a little doggy that he's finally stopped for. Hello little Mr. Yarn Bomb doggy. You are quite cute. We've just come to the Tank Museum and there's an event on and it's tickets only, so we can't actually get in. So it's spared you the Tank Museum, and unfortunately it means I can't use the greatest joke in the world, which is two fish in a tank. And one turns to the other and says, do you know how to drive this thing? So we have come all this way and that is the only tank we are going to see. And for your tank identification needs, that is a green one. That's a sort of browny yellow one, and that is another green one. I think they missed a chance there because that should say tanks for visiting, but it doesn't. Because the Tank Museum were so rudely having a massive event that had sold out, we've come down to a place called Tyneham, which I have never been to before, but it sounds quite interesting. We thought this place might have been quiet, but looking at the car park, it's actually extremely busy. Okay, we'll go and see what we can find. And to set the scene, here's a wee bit of history. What it was during the Second World War, the people were all moved out so the army could move in and use it as like a practice range, and the people said, okay, that's fine, have it for the duration of the war, we'll do our bit, and after the war we'll get houses back. And I think that was the deal, but it never happened, and the houses in the village is still abandoned, and this is still a live firing range. You got a feel for the people that were all moved out, because I suppose up till recently a lot of them were still alive and waiting to get back home and never ever get the chance. Like I said, this is still a live firing range, and this area was all out of bounds up until the 1980s when there was a protest and people complaining and saying give us access back into the area. So now you can get access pretty much at your own risk. If there's a big red flag flying, you don't come down. They've got these sort of information boards, but as it's all living memory and all recorded, I mean, there's the schoolmistress till 1910 and another schoolmistress and the class from 1927. This is really nice. So this was the old schoolhouse. Oh, it is pretty cool. There's an old man in a BMW jacket. Hi Richard! Who's not playing today because he didn't get to see any tanks. No, that's obviously the church, which we're going to go for a wee look at, as you probably guessed. And let's go and see what's around here. I mean, this whole community was just uprooted and told to go away. It must have been quite traumatic for people that had possibly lived here for generations. And this is the actual school, which has been restored. Very nice. I'm assuming it's not original, but I do like all the old, like 1930s educational posters up on the wall. There's weights and measures and physiology and lots of reading. I'm not quite old enough to have been at school here, but I do remember this, when you had your own peg for your coat and your wee bag. This is the Rectory Cottages, which as you can see was homes to the Biles family from 1910 to 1914, and today it looks like that. It's still quite an impressive building, although obviously roofless and windowless and all that stuff. When this place was taken over by the army, it must have been hard for anybody who had relatives in that graveyard, because suddenly they wouldn't be allowed to come and visit them anymore. That must have been, again, kicked out your house, removed from where you've been for generations, and not allowed to visit the graves of your relatives. That must have been really hard. But there was a war on. These people wanted to do their bit, even if their bit was just leaving their homes. So there's the story of the village when they moved out. That's a notice that they pinned to the door of the church. Please treat the church and our houses with care. We have given up our homes where many of us have lived for generations to help win the war and keep men free. We will return one day and thank you for treating the village kindly. And unfortunately they never ever got to return. And this is the inside of the church. Some of it dates back to the 14th century, apparently. I know some of you guys like a stained glass window, and there is a stained glass window. That's quite nice. That's quite an impressive memorial, that. Somebody who died in 1589, who's buried here under. So, down there. On the wall of the church is the village's war memorial to the men of the First World War, 1914-18. So men from here gave their lives, and there's the details and names and stuff for you guys that like names. The Hollands, the Meaches, the Taylors, the Clellels and the Balsons. More nice stained glass and a very nice altar. This is quite a pretty little church. And this is the graveyard. There's lots of people walking about, so I keep having to stop and start. Oh, I think we've finally found a view that's got no people in it, so let's walk around here and see if we can continue to avoid people. I think I'll just shut up now and let you have a wee look at the church, because I can't think of anything else to say, but you probably guessed that. These are quite interesting. There's little metal grave markers, and that's to Victoria Maud Cooper. And that's Alice Maud Cooper. I've just been wandering about reading these things out and stopped at this one and had a wee lump in my throat when I read it, because this is to Ernest Harris, who was aged 6 years old when he drowned at South Eggleston. Peaceful wee place in spite of the fact there's hundreds of tourists here. And yes, I know, I'm a tourist as well. And down here there are some more very nice looking old ruins, but unfortunately there's a sign there that says that these buildings are dangerous. Do not enter or we'll shout at you. This is the old rectory where obviously the rector would have stayed, and in the 1930s the Reverend Sharp was a man with a car, so obviously the rector had a few quid for his car. Oh, look at that. There's Jean Sharp, aged 94, who visited her old house in 1994, and her old house now looks a bit like that. Again, it would have been a very impressive building when it was intact and in use. Right, I suppose I'll better go and see if I can find Richard. Just look for a man in a BMW jacket and a BMW t-shirt and possibly BMW shoes and underwear. Can't vouch, but I'm guessing probably BMW. Never guess what his favourite brand of car is. So this is inside another cottage. I wonder how many generations sat round that fireplace keeping warm. And also, like everyone else who comes in here, I wonder what's behind that little thing up there. And can you open it? Well, you can. It's you tell me, because you can now see what's up there and I can't. It's a hole of some sort. I'll watch that bit later on and see what's in there. This is pretty cool. This is a 1920s phone box that's here. Now it's not actually original, because the original one was blown up by the army, but it is a reproduction and Richard is standing there filming me. It's quite cool. It's, as I said, not original, but still like the one that would have been here till the army blew it up. Oh, and a woman over there talking about requisitioning things has made me think that's actually the second example of somewhere that people were kicked out of to make room for the army, because when we were up at Billy, that was taken over by the SOE as a training base. So same as here, they were the locals were kicked out, although I bet the Lord was not kicked out. I bet it was just the peasants that were kicked out of Billy. And down here the whole community was kicked out. Oh, there's another big building over there. I don't know if that's interesting or not. Let's go for a wee look. Alright, that building that we were looking at is Tyneham Farm, as you see on the gate there. So let's go for a wee look. Oh, it's also written on that wall in dry stone diking, which is quite nice. Dry stone diking is when walls are made without any mortar. My great granddad used to be a dry stone diker, apparently, so my granny once told me. It's one of those things that is a dying art. It's kept alive by a few sort of fanatics, but once upon a time it would have been how all the walls were built. Fencing didn't exist. You had a dry stone dike, and a dry stone dike would last you for years, centuries even. This is the farm. Let's go and see what we... Oh, this is obviously the stables. Duh. But you probably figured that out for yourself. Horseshoes and... oh, there's one for Willie and Sarah when they're bottle digging. That is a marmalade pot or a jam pot, preserve pot. This is really nice. These old buildings are always so emotive. I keep saying that, and I'm probably going to stop saying it now because it's probably getting a bit boring, but hey ho. As interesting as the building is, it's all the little bits that are lying about that I always find quite cool. It's they're all screwed down as well. I did see if they could be moved, not because I wanted to steal them, just because I wanted to get that thing there into a bit of a better light. Okay, we're at obviously where they keep the wagon. That's quite an impressive piece of carpentry and metalwork. And again, there's lots of other interesting wee bits dotted about, possibly stuff that was just left here when the folk that lived here were all evicted. This is the Poole house. He's not home, thankfully. So that's pretty cool. This is quite a nice little museum, little collection of old buildings. It's yeah, liking it quite a lot. But here's the bit for the boys and their toys. There is an old tractor carriage of some sort. There's those seats. That like thing there is the seat. They're very expensive these days. You get them in like antique fairs with made into bar stools and stuff. That one is a Martin seat. They don't look hugely comfortable, to be fair. And here is part of an old winding engine, and that is from Manchester. Oh, sorry, it's not a winding engine. It's the patent chaff cutter. So if you want your chaff cut, that's what you'd use. Oh, here's the Dry Stone Dyke Association doing some dry stone dyke practicing. It's a skill, it's an art. You have to be able to do it properly, and your walls will last, as I said, forever. That's quite cool as well. That's a black barn that they used to store seed for the next year, and it sits on these mushroom-shaped supports to keep the rats out. The rats could not climb that and eat whatever you were planning on planting the next year. Pretty cool. Oh, what's this over here as well? There's little things here everywhere. Oh, the Lister is Britain's best cream separator. So if you want your cream separated, there it is. You'd use a Lister. So reading that sign down there were actually 100 buildings that were requisitioned. So 100 families were all kicked out of their houses. And here's some slightly more recent technology. This is high explosive rounds from the Gulf War, and some bits of modern technology from the ranges. That's a tank shell bit, and that's some grenades, and that's yeah, lots and lots of things with which you can kill other people. Okay, and there is where we are going. We're going to Warbarrow Bay, which is apparently 20 minutes this way. So let's go for a wee look. But remember, no cycling, which is fine because we don't have bikes. It doesn't say no getting carried on somebody's back. It doesn't say no doing a wheelbarrow, doing cartwheels. It just says no cycling. He's just said that I talk some nonsense, or words to that effect. He's only known me for about God knows how many years, and he's only just noticed. I wasn't lying, it's an active military firing range around here, so that is part of the firing range. And over there is part of the firing range. But this path, you're quite safe. This is not part of the firing range. I think if anybody was firing over there or over there, I would not be standing here. Oh, another interesting old building on the firing range, and over there, they're probably a bit far away, but that's a very impressive and very large white cliff. This area is called the Jurassic Coast because there's lots of fossils and stuff in those rocks, and recently there was a rockfall around here, and lots of people were going scrabbling through it looking for fossils, which must be quite interesting, especially if the chance of another rockfall is quite high. Ah wow, okay, so that was worth the walk. There's the cliffs and a wee beach and a wee bay and an opportunity to fly a drone, I think. But first we'll have to find out if this is controlled airspace, if I'm allowed to fly it here or if I'm not. Well, unfortunately, as expected, this is an authorization zone, so you can't launch the drone. But what you can do is you can try and get some altitude for your own imitation drone shot. So I'm going to go and I'm going to walk up that. I think I might regret this decision in about half an hour's time. I'm now fueled by that stupid sort of male bravado where people say, oh, that's a long way up, you don't want to go up there. It's like, yes I do, I can do it. So I'm going to do it. Wish me luck. These signs are for other people and not for me. I'm going up there. This seemed like such a good idea down at the bottom, which is down there. Not much further to go. Now, 3/4 of the way up, I'm just fueled by the fact that I know people are watching me. So I'm going to make it to the top of this hill. If it kills me, and it might. There we are, almost at the top. I'm guessing that is like a target thing for the army when they're doing training. They're not doing training today, it's all safe, I hope. And we have made it. And if I turn round, you can see the cliffs behind me that make it all worthwhile. Time for a wee panorama, I think. And this is definitely the best test yet for this microphone that was bought for us by our patrons over on Patreon, because it's extremely windy up here. If I had long hair, you'd be able to tell, but I haven't, so you'll just have to take my word for it. And there's Richard filming me. Hello Richard! You better have filmed it in landscape mode. I'm thinking going back down is going to be a lot easier than getting up, so I'll see you guys when I get back to the bottom of the hill. Actually, it's not a lot easier going down than it was going up. It's quite steep. All those things, none of them happened. Nothing exploded and killed me. I didn't fall over a cliff, and yeah. That was good. Nice views and a nice wee walk. Right, so that was Tyneham, and now we're heading back into Poole to go and look at the charity shops. This is a bit we'll both be looking forward to. He likes a charity shop almost as much as Beck's. I asked him very nicely and he stopped again. Here are the Mr. Men on top of a postbox. As we said before, we have nothing but admiration for the people that do these things. They get no reward for it, but they do make us smile. Hello Mr. Strong, how are you? Nice to meet you, sir. Here we see a BMW driver in his natural element deciding which 2 spaces he wants to take up in the car park. It's a little bit busier than it was last night. I don't think we'll be doing too much filming because I'll probably get arrested or assaulted or something. Deborah shop first. And I'm pleased to report that Richard is a fellow aficionado of what they call the bric-a-brac department. We call it the tat corner, but it's not tat, it's bric-a-brac. Oh, an early contender. Oops. Catch protection? Oh, it's closed. Must be out in the litter box. Oh, a wee bit of live music. Can you beat it? Richard impatiently waiting outside Age UK, so let's go and see what Age UK have got. Everything you could possibly need. Reasonable selection of tat. That's not a charity shop. It sells Lego, so I'm definitely not going in there. And I mean it, I'm not going in there. Julia's house, another one, another private one. Richard has done some shopping and they had a really nice hoodie, but it was £15. £15 for a hoodie in a charity shop. Yeah, that is not happening. Oh, and there's PDSA. Well, for all, there's lots of charity shops here. I'm not having a great deal of success, but we're going to go and now try in the Dogs Trust shop. So,
you're buying any more dogs?
I'm not buying any more dogs, no Richard, I'm not buying another dog. We've got one and I don't think he'd like a little friend. Although, to be fair, he might. And Richard is off like a Beck's. And woof to you as well. Oh, but that is quite a nice bag and it's £8. I think we'll have that for droning and laptoping. So I relented and bought something. A posh laptop bag. These things are usually quite expensive. This one looks like it's not been used and it was £8. So we'll have that. The drone will go in there and a little camera. Actually, I've just found out it is actually new because it's still got the tag on it. So yeah, bargain. Okay, only a few more to go. This is Oxfam. Pity Bex isn't here. That's a reasonable book assortment. Any DVDs you want to add to your collection?
No.
It's funny, isn't it? You get rid of them by the 100, by the box load, and then you go out and buy more. Ending this end of the street, we've got British Heart Foundation and the British Red Cross. This will be a double whammy. Hopefully there'll be double lots of cool things. £50? No. And 30 for that. Also no. 50 quid for Number of the Beast on vinyl.
Yeah, no.
I'm rich. It's £30 for the Beastie Boys on the other side as well. I've got them. I'm rich. Yeah. We were just having a discussion about what we're having for our tea tonight, and we've decided we're going back to the kebab shop. We know how to live life on the edge, don't tell Bex. And next up, it's the Salvation Army, the only charity shop with the authentic smell of a charity shop these days. That's quite nice, and it's £4. I think we will have that.
as well.
Oh, that was nice. Two lovely ladies in there who wanted to chat about YouTube when they saw the camera. It's like, oh, I should have asked if I could have just filmed in here, and they probably would have said yes. And that's that. Promised you some charity shops in this video, and that was him. It's a pity Bex wasn't here, because I think she could actually have spent maybe £10-15 in those shops easily.